What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTB Ravens Media, bringing Ravens content every single day. And it's time for the Ravens to take on the Cleveland Browns without Deshaun Watson. But the Browns, they've pulled off some decent wins this year. They've got the two guys that have been killing the Ravens over the last 3-4 years, or at least one of them has. Nick Chubb has been very good against the Baltimore Ravens throughout his career. So those are the guys that we need to stop. Joshua, how you feeling about this game today?
I mean, it's an AFC North foe. I mean, we had to literally dust. We got to forget about last week. What happened in MetLife, and and figure out how we want to fight today. And I feel like it's going to be a dog fight. I don't think the weather's the best at downtown Baltimore, but I mean, hey, you got some inspiration there at least. That 2012 Super Bowl teams down there. So hopefully that sparks some enthusiasm to these guys too. So I mean, it's definitely good to be back out there. Regain your composure, show that you can win. And you know what? Ed Reed, he went live on his IG either this weekend or this week, but he said something like, "Man, what us as Ravens fans, we take it too hard. We take a loss too hard. It's just a game, and it's early." He said personally, and I understand. I feel the same way. I'd rather us do the losing early in the season and us take that big run that we need towards later this season, have that momentum going into that second season, which will be the playoffs and the Super Bowl run. So, I mean, I'm feeling good. This is week 7. We got a short week. We got the Buccaneers on Thursday. So, I'm feeling good.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm looking at this game, the big thing that makes me feel good is we got Gus Edwards back. And apparently he's taking the first team snaps in the warm-ups of this game. So I'm pretty excited to get him back. That's going to be the big piece that I'm looking out for. And I see Chris Reed. How you doing, Chris? Says, what's up, y'all? We got to get this dub today. We start our win streak. Still got us going 12-5. So we got to get up. So we got to get this. So we got this. We got to play all 4 quarters like it's 0-0. Sorry to Sean. We making room for Jerry Jeudy. Now, I would love to get Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy, if y'all didn't know, actually childhood friends with Lamar Jackson. They asked Lamar in 2019, hey, who do you want to draft? And he said either this year Hollywood Brown or next year Jerry Jeudy. We ended up drafting Hollywood. No, I'm just kidding. I'm fine with the pick. I'm not upset about that. But Lamar Jackson really likes him, and the Broncos have received offers. I would assume that the Ravens probably did reach out. He's on his rookie deal. There's a couple of players on the rookie deals, Elijah Moore, Jerry Jeudy, that are potential to be traded. Other guys, like Jamar Chase. I'm sorry, we're not getting Jamar Chase. But, I think this week's huge because the Ravens, again, that's how they've won their games. They're very streaky. That is how this team seems to play, and they've been on a bad stretch. They have not played good football, I would say, at all, or at least a complete game of good football this season. You could argue, I would say, like, their best game was probably against the Bengals, even though they weren't, like, they were the most consistent that game. They didn't play amazing football. It was kind of ugly, but it was consistent. They were moving the ball a little bit. It wasn't where it's like, oh, yeah, they look like they're 50 times better than the opponent. Then halftime comes and they look like they're terrible and don't know how to play football anymore. Like they walked in and got Men in Black,
Yeah.
got the light show and forgot how to play football. So if they can get back onto that hot streak, I think that would be huge for this team. And I think that'd be huge for the Ravens trying to move forward and make a push towards the postseason and push towards winning this division, because right now it's tied.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. But let me ask you a question, McConnell, since we're on here, we're talking about the game. I mean, unfortunately, we lost our feature back. But, I mean, we'll get him back around, week 12, week 13 when we really need him. Do you feel like, the resurgence of a Kenyon Drake and possibly a resurgence of a Gus Edwards will help lead us to a lot of wins and maybe establish the run game?
I don't know how much Kenyon Drake's going to play a part of it. I think it's going to be a lot of Gus Edwards, and I think we could really see a Justice Hill breakout and really trying to use him. I know Kenyon Drake played really well last week.
Yeah.
I don't know how much confidence I have in him doing that repeatedly. I feel like the Ravens will try and use Justice Hill a little bit more than Drake, as they work down the stretch. Because when Justice Hill was healthy, he was out snapping Kenyon Drake, and he looked better than Kenyon Drake did. But this game, Kenyon Drake will probably get the most touches, but overall, I think Gus Edwards is huge because he's the guy that's going to wear out that defense, and he's the guy that's the toughest to tackle. So, when you're looking for that Derrick Henry type of running back, those they get better as the game goes on. That's not Kenyon Drake. That's not Justice Hill. That's Gus Edwards. So I think he's going to be huge to this run game. Whenever the Ravens have been dominant, they've had Gus Edwards.
I definitely agree with that, man. Having that smash mouth football running back, that Tim Riggins, aka Friday Night Lights type of style of guy that carry you all the way to the playoffs and just help you finish out those games. I think that's a key ingredient that we have been missing. Hey Lisa, we need to score early and often, hold a lead, and put my foot down in discussion. Hey, Lisa, I think we've been in agreement for that since week one. Constantly, all gas, no brakes, every quarter. It can't be one first quarter, second quarter, and then third and fourth. Oh yeah, we're just gonna run the ball here and there, and maybe go for it on fourth and 9 or 4th and 5, and have all these penalties accrue as well. So no, definitely agree with you, Lisa. We definitely got to put these points often and early if we want to be that team that like the Chiefs or the Bills, or maybe even the Buccaneers, or maybe even the LA Rams. We have to continue to be able to go out there and produce points and move the ball. So I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, we got to – and the benefit is – now, of course, I'm going to say this, and it's not going to be the case today. This is a running team they're going up against. This team is built on Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. They want to run the football, and if they're going to have success, they're going to be running the football. Jacoby Brissett has played well this year. He can throw the football. He's not a terrible player. He's a very competent backup in the NFL. And he's doing his job well. They also have Amari Cooper, who's been decent against the Ravens. Guy who's been really good is Donovan Peoples-Jones. I swear that dude kills the Ravens.
And they got Njoku.
Njoku also, see, every tight end kills the Ravens because we got Patrick Queen covering them. And that's not a recipe for success. It's Patrick Queen in coverage. But if they can get the lead, again, obviously they got to keep their foot on the gas.
Yeah.
But they got to make Cleveland, if Cleveland's going to score, they got to make them take long drives.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have to keep the problem is, right? If we start doing what we've been doing, right? Second half comes along and we keep getting these 3 and outs, we keep having these short drives. Yeah. Our defense is not going to be able to stop Nick Chubb. They're going to get no rest. They're going to go right back out there, and every drive they're going to get more and more yards per carry because that's how Nick Chubb works. He's one of those guys. He gets better as the game goes along. We saw him getting like an 85-yard touchdown back in 2019 in week 4 because we just couldn't keep up with him. And he's too physical and he's just too strong. And he just goes out there and just keeps willing his way to doing all these things. So if the offense needs to, they don't even need to be putting up points. I mean, obviously that would be nice. They can at least make sure that they're not getting 3 and outs. They are allowing the defense to rest because that's been a huge problem this year. And I don't think a lot of people recognize how hard it is playing defense when your offense isn't gaining any yards. That is why all the great defenses in history, you look at and you're like, oh, what did their offense look like? And then you're like, okay, what was it? And then you look at it and you're like, oh, wow, they ran the ball most of the time with a ground and pound running back. You guys want examples? 1985, who did they have? They had a guy named Walter Payton, Sweetness. 2000 Ravens, we had Mr. Lewis running that ball up the middle. You want to look even more recent, Legion of Boom defense. They had Marshawn Lynch just grinding away at all of these teams. These are so many of the great defenses in history. You could argue the top 3.
I was about to say, before Legion of Boom, you had Sean Alexander too.
Exactly. So it's like
Jerome Bettis.
and all those Pittsburgh Steelers defenses over the last 20, it's like, oh, what did they have? They had a run game. And even though the New England Patriots, they were led by Tom Brady, right? They had some fantastic defenses. When it came down to it, it wasn't Tom Brady throwing the ball like 20 times, in the second half. It was they have a lead, they're handing it off to one of their, they've had like 25 running backs over the last 20 years, but whether it was LeGarrette Blount or it was they had the guy that used to play for the Bengals as well. I can't remember his name.
I know they had Vereen. I know they had
Yeah.
Sony Michelle.
Sony Michelle, Shane Vereen. They had just a
Was it
ton of
Corey
guys.
Dillon at one point?
They might have had Corey Dillon. They just always had someone.
Yeah,
they always had someone that they could lean on to run the football and get consistent yards. When you look at the bad defenses in the NFL over the last, 10 years, right? The Detroit Lions have always had a bad defense. Why? They haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher since Barry Sanders because they can't run the ball to ice out any games. They can't do that. So you can look at even teams where it's like they don't even have a great defense, but they're able to look great, right? The Tennessee Titans, the Cleveland Browns, the Indianapolis Colts. Their defense always looks so good with the stats, right? Why? Because you look at their offense, their drives are 15-play drives where they were just running the ball with Derrick Henry or Jonathan Taylor or Nick Chubb, one of the best running backs in the NFL. That's what gives them the boost. Being able to control the clock and give your defense time is massive.
Yeah, and I guess we gotta throw out there too. I just thought about the original Derrick Henry, Brandon Jacobs with the Giants and Ahmad Bradshaw.
Yup. Oh, that's pretty cool. I think I just saw. Looks like something's. What's going to be at College Game Day is going to be at Jackson State. That's pretty sick.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Yeah, so it's going to be Southern versus Jackson State. That's going to be College Game Day. That's pretty cool. Shout out to Coach Prime. Yeah, we got Priest Holmes. Yep. Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis. A lot of guys. They had so many guys. And how do we produce points with no weapons? Here's the thing. Wide receiver weapons we may not have. Well, we have Devin Duvernay. But the weapon is Lamar Jackson. And obviously Josh Oliver, the weapon, his nickname. But Lamar Jackson's the weapon, right? He's the one that makes the plays. It's the opposite of so many things, right? Like, traditionally you look at, I don't know, Phillip Rivers, right? A traditional pocket passer is going to throw it to LaDainian Tomlinson or throw it up for Mike Williams or whoever it is. He's going to throw it to him, and they're going to make that play. Yeah. They're going to make that difficult catch. They're going to moss somebody. They're going to make that guy miss. Lamar Jackson, on the other hand, he's going to stand in the pocket. He's going to evade a sack. He's going to roll out, and then he's going to throw you a pass. And then he's the one that made the difficult play. You just got to make that easy catch. Now, sometimes we have guys like Mr. Hollywood Brown that doesn't want to make the easy catch, but we don't have that anymore. So we just got to have guys making those easy plays. Now, obviously, Mark Andrews is a playmaker. Isaiah Likely is a playmaker. Duvernay is a playmaker. I think those are the playmakers we have right now. Gus Edwards, when he's fully healthy, is a playmaker. Don't know if I want to say he's 100% good. So who do you think, Joshua, is the playmaker we need to rely on the most?
Today? Damn, I don't know. I think I can't just limit it to one person today. I think it may have to be the running game. I think it has to be the running game. I mean, we have this. I mean, the offensive line is healthy. That's a good thing. I mean, yeah, Morgan Moses got a little tweak, but being outside of that, offensive line is healthy. The only thing is we had to get these guys moving in the backfield. We had to get these positive yards. We got to continue taking time of possession, but also as we take time of possession, we had to score points. And then the good thing about it is, yes, Jacoby Brissett he's a good number 2, but he also chokes in the big time because I believe it was against the Chargers where he threw an interception and they could have won the game.
Hi, Trevor. Hey, just get my soccer ball to your yard. Okay. Also, do you know where the water shut off?
ESPN, my bad.
ESPN just randomly starts playing like random videos while you're on it, and all of a sudden they'll just have sound, and it's so annoying.
No, seriously. So outside of that, as long as we minimize our turnovers and our mistakes and our mishaps, and capitalize on the mishaps of the opposing team's offense, especially put that pressure on Jacoby Brissett and force him to pass the ball, I feel like our run game and Lamar Jackson can make this W happen. I feel like that's the X factor for this game.
Yeah, I feel like the X factor is going to be a pass catcher in this one. I feel like it should be Devin Duvernay or Rashad. Is Rashad Bateman playing? I know he was practicing. He's playing, right?
Yeah, he's active.
Okay, then I'm going with Rashad Bateman. I don't know why, but we haven't had him the last few weeks, so I keep forgetting about him. Rashad Bateman, I think, is going to be the guy because we saw how explosive this team was with him. He was getting those deep balls every game. He was getting those big plays, big touchdowns, moving the chains. It would be fantastic if the Ravens just went out and their offense looked great. And it was Rashad Bateman catching that ball. And it's like, okay, maybe we can discount the Ravens' other losses where the offense falls apart because they didn't have him. They didn't have that guy that was the chain mover. That's what he was drafted to be, was a chain mover. The Ravens have struggled on third down. So that's kind of the biggest thing. And Alex, why don't we use Prochet? I don't think that Greg Roman likes Prochet. I don't know if there's something at practice that they just like situationally, maybe they like other players doing what he can do a little bit better. Maybe they like Devin Duvernay on those short routes. I don't know why they don't use him very much. But I feel like the players that do play are better than Prochet at the same time. Like, even though I want Prochet out there, I would rather have Duvernay out there. I would rather have DeMarcus. I would rather have Bateman. So if we're going 4 wide receiver sets, then I could see us using Prochet every once in a while, but it just depends on the situation.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I thought it was going to be a bigger step for Prochet in his career with us. It obviously seems like it may be something else brewing in the facility because I mean we always on the outside looking in. I mean we constantly made the argument of why let someone have a game of 7 catches and 70 yards and then make him a healthy scratch the following week. So I mean he's been back, he's been in the games, he just hasn't been utilized or targeted. That's even the same way with Tylan Wallace because I believe he's a healthy scratch today as well. So I mean there's so many things going on behind the scenes that we don't know in the organization. But if this may be the end for James Prochet's career with the Ravens, I wish all the best to him. For real.
Think about it. I think the Ravens could be interested in Jerry Jeudy, but the Broncos want to win. The Broncos are not tanking is the issue. So it's like for them to trade him, he's going to be significant draft capital. Like I would think that they would want probably the equivalent of a first round pick. It could be a late second, 2 future seconds and a fourth or something like that. But I think they're going to want a first round pick. And for the Ravens, if I'm looking at it, I would rather draft a wide receiver. Like if the Ravens were really going after wide receiver, I would rather trade up and draft an Addison or draft a Jackson Smith and Jigba rather than waiting and try to trade for Jerry Jeudy where we would have to pay him sooner. Also, the best wide receiver in the country isn't going to be in this draft because he's not eligible yet. That's Marvin Harrison. Marvin Harrison Jr. plays for Ohio State. I would rather trade up for a guy like Addison, because Ravens right now are picking. I can look up where the Ravens would be picking right now. Addison's projected to go in the teens, like 12th to 17th. Yeah. So, like the Ravens right now are at, Ravens right now are at 21, right? Like trade
that's off the fun of
a future second round pick and trade first round, trade your first and a future second, get yourself that wide receiver or whatever. I would rather do that than trade for Jerry Jeudy, even though he's really good friends with Lamar. We have to pay him very soon. So it's like that's part of the reason why I think we traded Hollywood was we're not going to be able to give him the money that he wants.
No, everybody's talking about us trading for wide receiver, but honestly, I mean, we still had to put in perspective that Lamar Jackson has not signed a contract extension, and the last conversation was before the season started. So we do have to put that in perspective when the season is over. So I don't know if I will make big moves for the offense as of yet, so I know what quarterback that I have. Because if you don't have Lamar Jackson, then you have to. I feel like then you have to literally start rebuilding. And I feel like if you start rebuilding, you start with the coaches. Yes, I'm gonna bring it up. I mean, I'm not going to divvy into it that deep today. But I mean, if we don't have Lamar Jackson in the upcoming next year, then it's a rebuild for the next 3 to 5 years for the Ravens. That's how I look at it.
Definitely. I think it's like, let's figure out what we want to do before we start trying to patch it, right? Like every once in a while, you got to let the house burn down, right? Like if the house is overcome with flames,
Yeah.
stop throwing buckets of water on it and start running. Like it gets to a certain point with that. And so if the rate, like if I don't expect this to happen, but if say Lamar Jackson is like, no, I kind of want to leave. Yeah, the Ravens can franchise tag him twice or whatever. Let's say they do that and he still doesn't want to stay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about, oh, we got to find that new quarterback for this system and we got to do it. It's like, no. Let's take a step back. Let's rebuild. Let's reset. Right? Like that's what these teams do in basketball. That's what these teams do in all these other sports is they go, you know what? I'm an OKC fan. That's what we did. We went out and we were like, yeah, we could keep trying to trade for guys. You know, we had Chris Paul and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And I was like, we could try and keep making the playoffs as the 8-7 seed, or we can trade away Chris Paul and we can rebuild and try and get our new superstar, right? These teams like the Indianapolis Colts are screwing up because they keep going out there every year and they're just like, let's get a new quarterback. Let's get a new quarterback. And they keep trying to do the same thing with the same quarterback, with one new quarterback, whether it's Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, now it's Matt Ryan. It's like, yo, these guys all suck. Hit the reset. You can keep Jonathan Taylor. You can keep your good pieces, but hit the reset and be like, hey, let's draft a guy. Let's rebuild him for a quick sec, and then let's go up. Whereas like all these other teams, you don't want to be the teams that just say, oh, we're just going to hit that. Not everyone can be the Packers with Aaron Rodgers being your backup quarterback. You just be like, oh yeah, this guy's great. Like Tyler Huntley isn't Aaron Rodgers backing up Brett Favre. I'm sorry. He's not that guy. Whereas, you know, it's not like Steve Young backing up Joe Montana. Mm-hmm. Like Steve Young was a first-round pick by, I believe, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Then he got traded to San Francisco or something like that because they didn't like what he was doing in Tampa Bay. It can't all be like that. You got to hit the reset if things aren't working out. Now, obviously, I hope they work out. I'm not expecting Lamar Jackson to leave. I think he's going to be here. But if they don't try and just patch it up by just trading for random wide receiver. Like sometimes you got to say, hey, let's not try and use up all our draft capital to trade for a wide receiver. Let's just draft one. Maybe trade up and draft the guy that we think is going to develop the best for this system, whether it's Addison, whether it's Jackson Smith, whether it's another guy that, you know, climbs the draft boards because he had a great 40-yard dash or, you know, has a great, you know, end of the season. We're only halfway through college football or even less than that, I think.
Yeah.
We can go get some guys if they're not there. But I think if the Ravens are going to trade for somebody, don't have it be a wide receiver. Because you can draft wide receivers, I think, the easiest in the NFL and get quick production. Now, not Jamar Chase production, but versus like an edge rusher. Because like we need linebackers and we need edge rushers way more than we need wide receivers.
So I was going to ask you. I mean, would you rather go for Brian Burns?
Burns absolutely. Brian Burns is a guy who was like, yes, I'm trading for him.
He's like, if we don't know what we have in David Ojabo, excuse me. Adafio Way is solid number 2 guy. I mean, he's more of a run support guy. But Brian Burns is 24 years old. And he can do it all, and he's on a rookie contract. And I feel like, you know, you could probably give him that extension if you made the proper adjustments as far as money wise.
John Doe, if the Ravens go into a season with Tyler Huntley, they are tanking to get a new quarterback. Like that, like I'm fine with starting Tyler Huntley for a season if the goal is to get a bad draft pick to, like, you know, he can be a bridge quarterback to where it's like, okay, we're going to get a bad player and we're going to draft, you know, whatever it is next year, 2 years from now. We draft, I'll say Arch Manning or whatever it is. If we want to be like Arch Manning's in this next draft class, Lamar Jackson doesn't resign. All right, we'll start Tyler Huntley. He'll lose a lot of games. Now we draft Arch Manning. Boom. We've hit the rebuild lottery, whatever it is. Then it was worth it. But, like, they can't, like, they wouldn't be starting Tyler Huntley with the expectations of even having a winning record. Like, he's not that guy.
No, not at all.
Let's see. Should I start Dobbs or Gallup? I'll probably go Dobbs. That's kind of my thought. But Joshua, We got a couple of minutes. Let's do some bold predictions. Let's start with the offensive side of the ball. What do you think for a bold prediction?
Lord have mercy. I'm going to get crucified for this, but oh well, it is what it is. I have Gus Edwards going for 2 touchdowns and 150 yards on his debut back on the field.
Oh my gosh. The greatest game in
history. Somebody got to make something happen, so I might as well call it a bold prediction. It's a bold prediction.
Okay. I'm going to go with we get another 50-yard plus Rashad Bateman touchdown.
I like it.
And then defensive side of the ball, what do you got?
I got Kyle Hamilton. I got Kyle Hamilton picking off Jacoby Brissett twice, and one is going to be a pick 6 off of a post play to Njoku.
I like it. And I see. Ooh. I'm gonna say we get a rookie pick today.
Pepe? Because Jalen's out.
I gotta go with Pepe. I think we get a Pepe. I think we get a Pepe pick 6.
I like that. He needs that.
I would love that. Do we have any special teams ones? Any special teams bold predictions? We use them. It's always a good one.
I mean, that's always a great one. No, I don't got one. I don't got one today. What about you?
I'm with you. I don't think I have anything that I'm expecting to happen that's crazy by any means.
It's gonna be a dogfight, though.
Yeah, definitely. But everyone, thank you so much for coming through. We'll be going live right after the game, man. So don't worry about that. Thank you all for watching. Subscribe for daily Ravens content, and we'll see all of you again, hopefully with a 4-3 record.